This is an interview of stand-up comedian and presenter John Robbins. If you like this interview with TV presenter and comedian John Robbins, then please do subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment below. I want to hear your feedback. Give me a mark out of 10. Was this video any good or a big pile of rubbish? John, I just want to say thanks for agreeing to interview us before your show. I hope we're not kind of knocking you off your normal flow or not disrupting any rituals.
No, in about half an hour I'll go into my mind palace, and then you won't be able to disturb me then. Okay,
and what do you do when you're in that mind palace? Do you just sit down? There's no one allowed to disturb you? Do you masturbate? Anything like that?
Oh no, nothing like that. I tend to just attempt to go through my notes, but end up playing annoying games on my iPhone.
Annoying games? What's the most annoying game?
Well, not annoying games, brilliant games. Kingdom Rush Frontiers, any kind of tower defense-based game. Okay. I've always spent more time defending towers than I have performing comedy.
But don't you get really annoyed that you get up to a certain level of these games and then you got to buy loads of shit? Do you not get really annoyed by that?
Well, if you're talking about the heroes in Kingdom Rush, I've never bought one and still I've got 3 stars on every level. So.
Now, John, I want to get inside of the mind of a stand-up comic. So
it's a scary place.
It's
a dangerous place. It's there are no rules in the mind of a comedian.
So talk me through like the process. So you get an idea. How does that idea then go on stage? What's the process that you go through?
It varies from comic to comic. A lot of people will sort of sit and write the idea out sort of longhand, but for me the ideas come on stage and then I sort of make a note after, oh that was a funny story, and then
do you not write anything beforehand?
Not really,
so
no.
You just go in raw pretty much with an idea?
Yeah, and often it'll come from sort of chatting to the crowd, and it'll remind you, it'll spark a memory of an anecdote. It's like when you're with the way I describe it's like when you're with your friends in a pub or a bar and they're talking about something, you go, oh, this happened to me once, and you say it before, you maybe haven't remembered it in 5 years, you haven't said it out loud before, and then from there sort of keeps gathering moss.
Gathering moss. And do you ever get heckled really badly?
No, not really. I don't think that really happens as much as people would like to think. It's mainly just sort of drunken noises sometimes, or sort of cocaine noises, which you can tell there's a difference between a cocaine noise and a drunk noise.
What's the difference in the noise?
So a drunk noise is sort of incoherent, whereas a cocaine noise is very focused.
Like a tone?
No, it's usually got an East London sort of Cockney accent, and then you look at someone and they're quite scary, so you don't sort of slam them as hard.
And what's your best put down?
A guy kept repeating things. That happened the other day. A guy kept repeating everything I was saying on stage. So I said, "Are you a cave?" Classic echo cave. Yeah. He likes it.
Yeah.
So.
There's a rule, isn't there, that you can use put downs from other comedians, but you can't use material from other comedians. But heckle replies are shared. Is that a thing?
I don't know really. I'm not sure it happens enough for them to sort of go round. I mean, there are like ones that loads of people say, like, where do you learn to whisper? In a sawmill, if someone's talking a bit loud. But then, there was a comedian who once got confused, and he was trying to say that. He was trying to say, where did you learn to whisper? In a sawmill. But he actually ended up saying to the guy, where do you learn to heckle? In a whispering gallery. Which doesn't make any sense, but it was very funny.
Yeah. And how did you end up in a flat with Russell Howard and John Richardson? How did that happen?
We were just 3 young, sexy bucks looking for a shag pad. Richardson, obviously, is the sort of leader, the most aggressive sexual beast of the trio.
Did he shag the most?
Definitely.
Who shagged the least?
Probably Russell. He's a God-fearing man. And Richardson just wanted a soundproof basement, and it turned out to be a 4-bed, and there was another comedian there called Mark Olver, but he can no longer have sex because his cock wore off.
It wore off?
Yeah, it's not there anymore. And so
what's
we lived together.
Just a patch, like a Lego man? Or
have you seen Let the Right One In?
No.
Right, well you wouldn't understand what's there.
I'm going to see that. I'm going to watch that. Let the right one in.
Let the right one in. And so we lived together for a year, and then sort of Russell moved to Bath, Richardson went to Swindon. I mean, all of the metropoli of the UK. And me and Oliver stayed in Bristol, then I moved to London.
Do you get jealous of their careers? Because they're doing a lot of TV stuff. You know, Russell obviously doing stuff at the O2. Do you ever look at them and think, bastards?
No, I look at them and think, great stuff.
Is there anyone in the comedy world you get jealous of?
No, not really, because you can only have your own career. You can't, like, and it all happens for different people at different times. And so, for example, the show I'm doing tonight is my 5th hour-long show, but it's been done and performed in rooms of between 20 and 150 people. So that show wouldn't work in like the O2. Yeah. Because it would be insane. Yeah. So I don't think, God, I wish I was doing the O2 tonight. Yeah. I mean, it would be awful.
That's where you want to go, though. Eventually, that's got to be like a.
Well, I don't know about that, but I just think you'd need different types of comedy for rooms that big, and everyone who plays those massive rooms learns ways to make their comedy fit that arena. Yeah. So I'm not sure I would want to necessarily play the O2. Not that there's anything wrong with playing it, but maybe I think the ideal comedy venue size is like 400 or 500. I think in terms of the feeling it in your face.
What about the booze feeling of money linked to a big venue like the Apollo? Or
if you start out doing comedy to make money, then you're insane. I'm still not rich from comedy, and I think people would, I don't know, say I was quite good, but it's not a financial industry to go into. I mean, I went to a good university, for Christ's sake. I could be earning north of 40k a year.
What did you study?
English.
English.
Yeah.
And do you ever use that at all in your day-to-day life?
I use English now.
I mean, anything you got from your degree, was it like one of those literate degrees where you just read books and write essays about them?
Yeah, I do. I read excerpts from The Great Gatsby in this show, which is that's more like GCSE, that's when I read that, because this show is about nostalgia and regret and time passing. So Gatsby fits in there. Philip Larkin I have used on stage. I did Old and Middle English as well, but thus far no Beowulf has made it into my set.
Not yet?
Not yet.
Okay. And any embarrassing stories you can share with us about John or Russell, or anything that happened in that comedy
Embarrassing
flat?
Stories about John or Russell?
Yeah, or just anything that happened in that flat.
Richardson got a chocolate fountain for a party and it didn't work. You know, it's that kind of amazing sort of stuff that you just couldn't script. He let it cool, and the chocolate solidified in the thing, thus rendering it completely useless. But crucially, none of us are drug takers. None of us break the law. So there was no kind of crazy, wild parties.
Yeah. Was there any sense of like one-upmanship when you were?
There's an awful lot of sparring and sort of verbal sniping, and it was really good lesson in how to be quick on your toes comedy-wise. Richardson is the quickest. Is one of the quickest comics I've ever met. But he's bang. Yeah. And so yeah, there was lots of that went on.
And who's the worst comic that you've met?
The worst comic?
Worst comic. I mean, I'm not just talking about material, I'm talking about, you know...
Well, the worst human being I've met through comedy?
Yeah, exactly.
I won't tell you his or her name, but...
We'll call him Mr. X.
There is one... 99% of people who do comedy are good people, and it's actually... You would expect it to be an industry full of like prima donnas and annoying people, but I mean, most of them are legends. There are a few tools.
How hard is it for a comedian to make it nowadays? Because I know when you started, I read on your website, it's 2005. I think back then, you know, stand-up wasn't as popular, or anywhere as near as popular as it is now. Obviously, with shows like Live at the Apollo, Mock the Week, it kind of feels like almost everyone is out there trying to do stand-up. So do you think it's a lot harder now for a new comic?
It's weird. It's harder and easier in a sense, because when I started, there was a very definite sort of career progression, and what you did is that you did sort of unpaid spots at clubs, then you did 20s at clubs, and then you would do an Edinburgh show, and then you would do another one, and then you do like 5 Edinburgh shows, and then people would go, right, this person's kind of great, then you do start touring, then you go on telly.
Yeah.
Whereas now, what's changed, which I never saw coming, is that you start off quite good, but you're young and people go, he's great, let's put him on telly.
Yeah.
And then off the back of telly, you then do your first Edinburgh show, which blows my mind.
Hey, so what, you go out there, you do 5-minute slots, and then what, you get TV gigs?
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
You can do, and because, you know, people like new stuff and they like cool young dude. I mean, I'm wearing skinny jeans. I'd never heard of these until I saw comedians wearing them. I'm wearing them now to be cool.
Do you feel cool?
No, I feel warmer because they act like a thermal sort of under-stocking. So that's why I opted for them this evening. It's quite chilly. There are so many comics. I mean, when I started, there were probably about 500 shows in Edinburgh. Now there are about 800 or 900, maybe 1,000 shows in Edinburgh. But then 10 years before me, there were probably about 100 shows in Edinburgh. So weirdly, if you look at like an Edinburgh Festival guide from like 1998, every single comedian in that guide is amazing. Whereas now there's 1,000, and you know, half of them are
rubbish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, that's I guess the spirit of the festival. But it's weird to look back and just think, fuck, what it would have been like to be able to go to a show and know that comic was going to be amazing.
Yeah. Did you see any you know, of these really big comics when they were just starting out?
Well, I think, yeah, Russell and McIntyre, probably the biggest acts I worked with early on.
So if you were starting out now, would you do anything differently to how you did it?
Everything.
Everything. How would you do it?
I would have an accent. I would...
An accent? What, you mean put one on?
Yeah, probably Spanish or Portuguese, or maybe Chinese accent. I think there's not enough Chinese comedy going around. I'd probably have moved to London a bit earlier.
So what, you stayed in Bristol just too long?
Yeah, sort of. I was quite scared of London, I think.
What was scary about that?
It's big, messy, people.
Yeah.
Ah, God. Whereas Bristol, you can walk from anywhere to anywhere in 45 minutes, max. So you never never more than an hour's walk from a hot bath. Yeah. Whereas in London, you just get stuck.
Okay, so you'd move to London, and then what would be your plan from there?
What, in this alternative universe?
In this alternative universe, you're starting from scratch.
I'd play with all the big acts. I would probably start up a band. I don't know, it's hard to imagine an alternate reality for myself. I think I'm doing all right, aren't I? I don't need to...
I think you're doing pretty good.
I don't need to do it all over again.
No. Is it 5 shows at Edinburgh now?
Yeah, 5 hours.
5 hours. That's a lot of stuff. Is it all new stuff every show?
Yeah, it's a lot of gear.
So what, you just chuck your entire, like, just everything out the window and then start afresh for every show?
Yeah, and some people will like take up greatest hit shows, but they're dicks. You're dicks. I'm very much the opinion that every Edinburgh show should be, I'd say 90% new stuff. I mean, sometimes you get the odd joke that kind of think, so there's, for my next show, which I'm now writing, there's a line from my first show which fits really nicely, so I'll pop that in there, but I wouldn't do like all old stuff.
Well, that leads nicely to my next question. Tell us about Where Is My Mind, your show.
So it's a show about nostalgia and living in the past, about adolescence and growing older, really. So the great meaty topics of our age.
You're not that old, are you? 29, 30?
31.
31 now?
Yeah, 31. But in the show I'm 30 because it was written when I was 30.
Aha.
So I'm not lying about my age, it's for the purposes of a joke.
Yeah.
And it's about the happiest day of my life, which was at Reading Festival in 2001.
I was there. That was a good festival, I think so, yeah.
Really?
2001 and 2000... Yeah, 2001. Wow. Green Day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they got the guy up to drum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They always do that.
Oh, right. I didn't know that because I've never
their thing.
seen Green Day before. Yeah, so it's about that Reading Festival.
What happened at that Reading Festival?
Met a girl.
Don't we all?
And it's just about sort of the perfect weekend, and how as you get older, those moments which you look back on fondly sort of become almost kind of beautified beyond any actual, it's not based in reality. You know? I'm someone who sort of obsesses quite a lot about the past. And it's about sort of coming to terms with that as one gets older.
So you fell in love?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure you can at that age, but certainly thought she was really top banana.
That's such a dad saying. Do you have kids?
No, God.
You should with sayings like that.
I should do. My interior monologue is quite Alan Partridge like. He's sort of infected my sort of thoughts quite a lot, so I do speak as him.
Well, John, look, really thank you for this time and this interview, and good luck with the show.
Cheers.
Cool.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, man. I'd love to know your thoughts on that video, so give me a mark out of 10. 10 being great, 0 being rubbish. What do you think this video scored? Leave me a comment.
Subscribe to Kevin's channel. What you... Subscribe. We need you to subscribe. You don't. No, we don't.